Hey, it's Heidi. Welcome back for another Teaching Tuesday. I am so glad you're here on this journey with me, showing up for yourself, getting what you need so that you can have what you really want. I help people, you know this by now. I help people resolve their relationship issues. So if you're in a relationship that causes you resentment, anxiety, sadness, rage, that's a relationship that you deserve better, right? And so I want to help you by equipping you, empowering you, educating you, inspiring you, and ultimately enlightening you so that when the lights go on, you stop settling, you stop tolerating, you stop struggling so that you can have the thing that you really desire and deserve. And the people said, amen, right? When we ask that question, we say, hey, why don't you have the thing that you want? There's a thing that you really want. Why don't you have that yet? There's three different answers. There's the sleeping person answer, which is, well, I don't have what I want because they won't let me. Because they're responsible, because they inflicted pain upon me and they put me in this situation, whoever they is, right? We blame other people, blame our upbringing, blame all the things that happened to us, really take that rooted in victim kind of position that my hands are tied. There's nothing I can do. It's everybody else's fault. That's when you're sleeping. When you're starting to wake up, like a little groggy, but you're still waking up, you come from the perspective that it's all your fault. There is no other responsibility anywhere else. It's all you. Everybody did the best they could. We shouldn't live in the past. We shouldn't even look at it. In fact, let alone let it be where it is, right? Because everybody did the best they could and it really wasn't that bad. And the reason you don't have what you want today is all your fault. It's all your responsibility, and it's your lame ass excuses that are keeping you stuck. Boy, if you want to hear that, there's enough of those people on the internet. Trust me, you can go find them, seek them out. They'll kick your butt. They'll tell you that you need to step up and go on, get on with your life. But that's not an awakened person, right? That's a kind of waking up person to take responsibility. But there's a better way. There's what I call the middle way, which is the awakened position, is this third position, where it's that I'm neither placing blame, but I'm doing both with the accountability. Yes, it's true. The impact of your past circumstance or scenarios did leave an imprint on you. It is actually part of the reason that you're not performing the way that you want to in your relationships or in your life right now. And if you just say, leave it in the past, everybody did the best they could, you don't visit it, you're not awake. You're not awakened. You don't have the understanding and the insight that you need into yourself and why you are the way you are. But if you don't temper that with that wasn't your fault, but it's your responsibility to heal it, then you're going to miss the other half. And so that's the middle way. It's placing the accountability, having the insight as to why you are the way you are, how you got to this place, having this radical new insight, so that when the light turns on, now you can take full accountability and responsibility for keeping that light on and not behaving the same way that you have been in your relationships by doing the same things over and over and over again. So that's my goal. Well, why is the light off? What are we not awakened to? Well, part of this series that I'm doing for you is this awakening series on these unconscious, unwritten rules that likely you've been following that have been the reason for your struggle, your sacrifice, your sadness, and your sucking it up, or whatever is happening to you that is bringing you to these videos, to this well of knowledge where you're drinking and getting nourished, the nourishment that you need. Here's the thing. These rules, if you grew up in any kind of dysfunctional situation where it was like addicted person in your life, narcissistic, rejecting, abandoning, ignoring, any kind of situation where your needs, your basic needs for this is how we do love, excuse me, this is how we do life and love. If you're missing that, and you don't have that general understanding, you're going around with this unwritten rules of that's how you love. Sorry, that's how you love. That's how, but these rules aren't working anymore. So, hey, if you haven't heard, I'm leading a rule rebellion because we need to we need to know what these rules are so we can break them, right? It's like a beautiful dancer has to learn all of the steps, right? In the salsa or the merengue or the lyrical dance. They have to learn all the steps in the dance so that they can actually forget the dance and just become the dance, right? You have been living by these unconscious rules that have been driving your behavior in everything that you do. And me too. That's how I became aware of them, because my life was a reflection of these rules. I had success from outside looking in. I had the things, the stuff, it looked okay, but behind closed doors, the rules were actually preventing me from having the relationships I deserved. I was in a relationship with somebody that really only wanted me when I was breaking up with him, right? Full of anxiety all the time, wondering why I just couldn't be chosen. I was totally self-destructive, binge drinking, I had an eating disorder. I mean, I was really like a hot mess behind the scenes. And I had to realize, oh my gosh, these are because this is like my rules for life weren't supporting the vision that I held for myself. So without further ado, now I write sometimes even better than I talk, okay? So on my blog over at lovecoachheidi.com, if you're a reader, go over there and read some of these things. I'm going to try to pull this up so that I don't miss anything. Okay, so I'm still going to be recording, but I don't want to miss anything, because it's this is really important that we get to the bottom of it. You know, so some of these rules are going to answer the questions for you of why have you been self-sabotaging? Why have you continued to get into one-sided or hurtful relationships? Why do you constantly feel unsupported in your relationships or in your endeavors in your life? Why do you keep getting abandoned or rejected or hurt by the people in your life that are supposed to love you? Why does that keep happening? You're going to learn that within these rules. And why or when is it finally your turn to have somebody love you the way that you love them, right? The way that you always put everybody else before you. When is it finally going to be your turn? So here's the deal. The truth is actually when you decide is when that stops happening. When you decide that your well-being and your healing and your breakthrough and your brand new life on your terms, the way that you want it, happens independently of other people's feelings, behaviors, thoughts, opinions, reactions, that's when you're going to be set free. When you no longer believe that you actually need other people to actually see you, witness you, approve of you, co-sign what you're doing, and you just say, no, I'm going to heal, I'm going to move on with or without you. The truth is, you cannot look to the sick people in your life who are inflicting the pain to actually help you get better. They're sick. How are they going to help you get better, right? As a codependency coach, I work particularly in this area with people that you're in relationships with that are dysfunctional, that are toxic, you know, and you're waiting for them to get better so that you can be better. But we got to get better whether they get better or not, right? We've got to learn to pursue our lives whether they agree with it or not. And what happens a lot of the times is you start to get better, and then people are like, who the hell do you think you are? Well, you're getting better, right? What, right? You think you're better than everybody else, or you think you're further. Well, honey, no, I think I'm more healed, right? I think I'm going down the path to wellness with or without you. I'm going to walk that road home back to myself and what I really deserve. So the first lie, really, or the first rule, unwritten rule that we follow, is a rule that, okay, I'm going to explain it this way. All right. I'm going to use my own life, some vulnerable moments here, so that you can see maybe yourself. And when I explain these situations, I don't want you to go, well, I didn't really have that situation. I didn't really, but just look at it through the lens of how could this apply to you? In what areas of your life can you relate to this? Maybe not my exact situation or my exact story, but now is an epidemic more than ever, right? We have generations of people growing up with dysfunctional people, and maybe their flavor of dysfunction wasn't my flavor of dysfunction, but nonetheless, the impact is still the same, whether it was addiction in the household or absentee or just you know, narcissism in the household. Everybody's self-obsessed. Nobody sees what's going on with anybody else. So, okay, when I was growing up, I could not for the life of me figure out how to make people love me the way that I wanted to be loved. And really the way that I wanted to be loved was consistently. right? I didn't know from one minute to the next if I was loved or hated. I had no concept if it was going to be like in the same day I was going to be loved and hated, if I was going to be hated for weeks at a time, if I was going to be loved. When I was loved, I was cuddled and hugged and, had affection and things like that. And when I was hated, I was being beaten and berated, my spirit being ripped from me, my will, my who the do you think you are, kind of being just well, I must be nobody. I must be a terrible person to be consistently treated this way, and suffered a lot of abuse in that way. And it left me wondering in my mind throughout my entire life, boy, if I could just figure out how to be lovable, then I'll actually have people love me the way that I want them to love me. So the first unwritten rule that we're going to talk about today is be lovable. Why? Because you need people to love you, right? What's wrong with that? You could say, well, Heidi, there's nothing wrong with being lovable. Like, of course we want to be lovable, but here's why that's terribly wrong, okay? Yes, human beings are conditional people, right? Human love is conditional love. We can't escape that whether we want to or not. But we have to look at the conditions that we're trying to meet, right? When we're trying to be lovable. I remember trying to morph into whoever I needed to be, just be quiet enough. For me, it was like, don't be too much. Don't be too loud. Don't be too obnoxious. Don't annoy people. Just kind of bring it down. I was born like big, right? I was born just like, but that wasn't lovable. It's more lovable to just kind of like, just be like, don't be annoying, basically. Clearly I got over it. You're welcome, everybody. Okay. But at the time, a chameleon was born because I was just trying to figure out, well, how does this thing work? Who do I need to be? Right? And then I go around putting these masks on, trying to figure out, and worse, here's the problem with it. The problem is you can be lovable and a hateful person still won't love you, right? A hateful person still won't love you. And that's the thing about it, is that you go around scrambling, trying to be who you need to be, and it still doesn't work at the end of the day. And then we don't get it. We're like, oh, let me try harder. Oh, let me just be. So then, like, maybe if I don't speak my opinions, maybe if I don't have an opinion that's different from yours, maybe if I like the same things that you like, then maybe that'll be okay. Maybe if I just, give to you more than I get, then maybe that's the strategy, right? So we start adopting all these strategies in our lives to be lovable, and we equip ourselves and arm ourselves in our childhood, and then we go and become an adult. And we get into these relationships where we're still playing these rules. We're still trying to, like, we're all 10, okay, just trying to figure shit out, right? And be lovable. The other problem with that is the presupposition is you need to be lovable because you're not. Like, if I have to be lovable, the presupposition is I'm not lovable as I am. And you can't be lovable enough for a hateful person to love you, right? Let me look at my notes here. I say here, which is really good. Now I'm reading it. I'm remembering, like, when love is conditional, we're either holding people hostage, to our level of expectation, for them to reach this certain level, for them to be lovable enough so that we can love them, or we're hustling to meet somebody else's expectation of being lovable or not. And so whenever we look at people, okay, and we say, all right, instead of, like, if I just take me out of the equation, let's just operate out of the assumption that I'm actually lovable. All right, I'm just a lovable person. Not everybody's going to love me, okay? That's a fact, and that's how it's supposed to be, right? Not everybody is born to love you. Even Jesus, right? Like, how did Jesus get, like, I'm not a religious person, but I think about, like, that's the best human example, one of the best human examples of love. Why was he able to, like, just give and give, and be himself and retain his value even when other people were, like, really berating him, because he kind of knew intrinsically, like, who he was, right? He had a really good sense of himself, right? I always tell this story about this dollar bill, right? If I had a dollar bill, which I don't even know if I have any money. Hold on a minute. Let me see if I have some money up in this pace. Oh, I do have a dollar bill, okay? So if I have a dollar bill and I have this dollar, and how much is it worth? You know, it's worth a dollar. And if I, how much is it worth? If I crumble it up and spit on it, how much is it worth? It's worth a dollar, right? If I throw it away, if I reject it, if I go, you're the root of all evil, and I scream, I don't want to be too loud in my mouth. If you're the root of all evil, and I throw it across the room and I get rid of it, how much is it worth? It's still worth a dollar. I could beat it, I could spit on it, I could call it names, I could do whatever. And why, at the end of the day, after all it's been through, is it still worth a dollar? Because the difference between you and me and this dollar is that a dollar bill can't make up a meaning about what all that stuff meant, right? So maybe in your life you've been pushed aside, kicked, hurt, you know, discarded, spit on, all these terrible things. And me too, honey, me too, right? But the what I need to remember now is that those things did not really affect my inherent intrinsic value. Right? I retain my value. The difference between this dollar bill and us is this dollar bill can't make up a meaning about what all that meant, while we do. And the meaning we make up is that person can't love me, so I must be unlovable. What if that person just can't love? What if that person, just like Jesus couldn't do the miracles when they didn't believe, that person, so is the same for you, that person cannot receive your gifts and your blessings and the things that you bring to the world when they don't believe it either. It has nothing to do with you. A blind man can't see. A man in a wheelchair with no legs can't walk. And that man who hates himself can't love you. And your mother who never healed her stuff, you can't sacrifice yourself enough to heal her pain. She's unable. So we have to start seeing the reality, see clearly of the people that we're holding hostage to our expectations too. That's our responsibility. Who is the hostage you're holding that you're expecting to love you and you're trying to morph into? Are you trying to get blood from a damn stone? Are you, look, people love you to the level that they love themselves, period. And you need people's love to the level that you love yourself. And most people get this all wrong. They conflate self-care with self-love. And honey, there are not enough bath bombs in the world to compensate for a deep-seated feeling of self-hatred or inadequacy. You cannot manicure your way out of not enough. Okay, you can't. But what you can do is you can allow me to come alongside of you in something I've created, which is a complete and total self-love system called Love Yourself First Empowerment Life School. Love Yourself First Empowerment. And think of it like everything you wish somebody would have taught you when you were little about empowering, loving yourself, confidence, self-esteem, worthiness. Think of all those things you wish you'd be unstoppable, you'd be unquitable. Okay, think about all those things you wish somebody would have taught you and never did, and now you have the ability to learn. Because guess what? Enlightenment means it's your responsibility to heal those things and make it right for yourself. And so that is the way out. Heidi, what is the way out of releasing people, releasing the desire for approval, releasing? You cannot namaste your way out of it. You can't like om your way to, you can't. You have to like methodically, just like you've behaved your way into this your whole life, needing approval and love from the people who are incapable of loving you, you have to behave your way out of it. Meaning you need a set of principles, you need a set of guiding principles on this path, on this walk back home to your worthiness and self-love. You need to be shown the way, you need to be walked alongside. Okay, don't underestimate the value of that, all right? So rule number one is, I need to be lovable. What's the truth? You are. You are lovable. You have absolutely nothing to prove to anybody. And how would you behave if you actually believed that? If you believed that you didn't have to earn love or approval, if you believed that you had nothing to prove, how would you be in the world? Who would you be? All right? I love you. Make sure you're subscribed here so you never miss a rule. Do you know that I'm going through this all year with you with these rules? Just one will change your life. Imagine what a whole year of this will do. Will you commit to walk alongside of me? If you want to go deeper and you want to actually learn how to rewrite these rules with the new vows, I call them the sacred vows. You want to replace these so you can walk in your life with the love that you deserve to give yourself. Go to lovecoachheidi.com and send me a message and we can schedule a consultation and you can enroll in Life School. All right. I love you very much. Sign up, subscribe, make sure you get notified. Let's do this. Let's do it together. All right. Until next time, have a great, great week.